This season of Shaped is brought to you by Gillette Labs, helping you look and feel your best with an unbeatable, smooth, clean shave. Available now at Chemist Warehouse. Brandon Ellis, welcome to Shaped. I've been very excited about this. This has been a long time coming because not only are you a ex-teammate of mine, ex-housemate, ex-son.
Yeah.
But you're also just a wonderful friend, and from the early stages of our relationship, I think it was 2011 when you first got to the Tigers.
We started 2012.
Which we'll touch on. Till now, we've been very close, and I know that still surprises you to this day, which we can touch on. But I wanted to start where we typically start with all of our guests, and that is growing up. Obviously, mum, dad, brother and sister.
Yep.
Sister's older?
Nah, sister.
Is she the youngest?
No, she's middle.
So
I'm the oldest. And I got a brother who's 26 and sister's 30. So, yeah, I'm the oldest, the favourite.
The most mature.
Oh, yeah. Some would beg
What
to
was
differ.
life? I mean, I think a great place to start, because I still talk about a moment in time at the beginning of the 2017 season where Dimmer introduced the Triple H sessions. So for people who are listening and don't know the Richmond story, the Triple H stands for your hero, your highlight and your hardship. All of our teammates and anyone in the football department had to get up and share their Triple H as part of building connection, storytelling, and to find deeper levels of understanding of why people were who they are.
Yep.
And you were first after Dimmer shared his.
Yeah, you asked me to go first because you sort of half knew my story, and I was like full shit on myself, but so glad I went first.
So starting there, because I was one of 44 teammates and there might have been maybe one other.
Yeah.
Would you say one other on the
probably,
list?
Probably Steve Morris.
The level of your story and your upbringing and so forth, and some of the challenges you face, but also who you were to that day. Can you elaborate now briefly on your hero, your highlight and your hardship in whatever order you would like to do? Because I think it speaks volumes to the journey you've been on through life. Yeah. And I think it's important for people to hear, if you're comfortable to do so.
Yeah, definitely. Well, it was like if my teammates really knew me, then they'd know this about me. And then I don't think anyone sort of knew my story. I think I touched on it briefly with you and I think Steve Morris, because he was a very close mate of mine then. But yeah, I was like, far out, no one really knows the story. So I remember when Dimmer sent out the email, I think you messaged me, you're like, you're going to go first. I was like, oh, surely not. So then I was literally for like hours on end just writing down on my notes like how I'm going to say this, because I think I really wanted to express my story and like tell people who I, really was, but I just didn't really have the platform to do it. And this was like the perfect setting and environment. So I was actually a bit excited too. But yeah, so hero, I spoke about my old man, but thinking about it now, obviously both my parents are my heroes, but I'll touch on dad. Just as a kid, just took me everywhere, all my footy trainings. I didn't miss one thing. And then, he got diagnosed with kidney cancer when I was maybe 12. So then, he had to get one of his kidneys removed, so survived that. Pretty straightforward procedure. And then a couple of years later, he had like a lump in his throat. And then I was just like, he's going to get tests and everything done. Everything was all sweet. And anyway, test came back. And I remember getting home from school one day, and like both my parents are just sitting at the table, and I like started crying, and they're like, look, Dad's got throat cancer and they've given him 12 months to live.
This is when you were year 9? 14,
yeah, year 9.
15?
So I think maybe turning 15. So this is a couple of years after his kidney cancer, and then they was like, you've got like 12 months to live. And as like a 15-year-old kid, like you can just imagine like how I felt, all the emotions, and the last thing you ever want to do is lose your dad. So then, I remember they gave him like the ultimatum, like, look, you can go through the chemo, you can go through the radiotherapy, but it's probably not going to do anything because it's too far gone. And then he goes, nah, am I allowed to swear?
Yeah.
Nah, fuck that. He goes, I've got 3 kids, like I don't want to leave without a fight. So, he went on that journey for like 6 to 12 months, I'm pretty sure. doing the chemotherapy. It was pretty, tough to see. Like, I'd get home from school and he'd be sitting on the couch, lost all his weight, lost all his hair, looked really white, like looked like a ghost.
Didn't have a lot of weight to lose either.
No, he didn't. No.
Pretty fine.
Yeah, exactly. So, it looked like a bit of a skeleton. But, then anyway, so fast forward, that time he went back, got further tests done, and the lump in his throat had gone. And they're like, you don't have cancer anymore. And it's just like, wow. But I remember there was a time there so that day I got home from school. I was, went to my room, was crying. And then one of my best mates, he still was one of my best mates at this time, Richard, came over. And I remember overhearing them speak. And I remember Dad saying to him, whatever happens to me, please make sure Brandon goes down the right path in life. And then, that sort of, you speak about it, shaped. That's probably one thing that's, really shaped me into the person I am today, and really shaped, the journey that I've been on and my life.
Yeah.
That's why Dad was, I spoke about Dad as being my hero, because just to the hardship that he had to go through, he had to fight for basically his life, and then he did it just because of us kids. If you want to elaborate more on that, or do you want me to keep going?
No, that's beautiful. I mean, the thing that talk about things that are defining moments in your life, and I think you're about to touch on the hardship and the shame that came with, you shared a story on the day about the fact that you would finish your day at school, you'd have your group of mates who would all be walking home, and you would walk home a different way, so that no one knew that you actually lived in the commission homes or flats.
Yep. Yeah, so I spoke, my hardship was, growing up in housing commission, so in North Carlton. Grew up there my whole life until I got drafted. So, we're basically living on top of each other, didn't have a backyard, didn't have anything. But speaking about that, looking back now, as a kid, it's probably some of the greatest times of my life. I had so many other kids in the same position as me, going through the same stuff, but we just always catch up, play ball tiggy, play hide and seek, occasionally go egging.
Got to a bit of mischief.
Yeah, a bit of mischief, but it was so much fun. But when you get, a little bit older, you start understanding, what feelings are. Kids can be, pretty nasty. You start getting called names. I started getting called a hobo, or started getting called homeless. Getting called poor, or, why don't you have a backyard, or why don't you have your own room? And, as a kid, all you ever want to do is you just want to be liked, and you just want to have all these friends. That sort of started, sort of growing on me. And then you get a bit older, you start going to high school, you start meeting girls, and you start getting interested in them. And you're just far out. If they knew where I lived, there's no way in the world they'd want to hang out, or they'd want to go out with me. So, I'd lie about where I lived. I wouldn't tell them I lived in the flats. You start walking home, I'd make sure I walk a different way. I'd go the long way so that I walk around the flats, but then I could cut through because I knew the shortcuts to go home. Just little things like that. Growing up that I shouldn't have had to go through, but I sort of did just, because I...
Do you think it's helped you have greater appreciation for, what your AFL career did for you, or has provided you? I mean, I remember having a conversation with you maybe 3 or 4 years into your career, because this wasn't till probably year 6 or 7, where you started to share and open up about your story.
Yeah.
I remember you saying to me, outside of the fact that I'm playing the game that I love, and it was my dream to play AFL, one of my reasons for playing, and I think you shared this as part of your highlight as to why being drafted was a highlight of yours, was that you wanted to get your parents and family out of their current living arrangements. And you did that. You rented a house for them, helped them set up their business and so forth to give them the best opportunity of living a life that you weren't afforded to prior to that. How much did that give you drive on the back of, that defining moment where your dad said, make sure he goes down the right path? Sitting here right now, do you have a sense of pride in the fact that you've been able to help your family?
Yeah, definitely. It definitely makes me proud. And my parents tell me every day, how proud they are of, what I've been able to do and how much I've been able to help them. But, there was just been so many times I remember, like, you know, reflecting, thinking about, like, I'd living in the flats. All I ever wanted was a house, a backyard, so I could jump on my trampoline in the backyard. Like, that was what I wanted to do. But there'd be so many times, like, I'd dream, you know, have these dreams. You know, I'm in a house, life's awesome, and then I'd wake up and back to reality of living in the flats, and I'd just be like, oh my God. So I sort of just, when I got drafted, I sort of just made a promise to myself, like, I want to try and get my parents out of there as quick as I can, and try and just give them like a new lease on life, and just get them out of there, because they're not the greatest places at times to grow up. Trouble, crime, like drugs, whatever else there. And I had a brother and sister that I needed to try and look after too. So yeah, got drafted, saved up, you know, as much money as I could in my first few years. Bought my own house, and then when I did that, I got a house for my parents around the corner, put it in my name, helped them with their rent and everything till they found their feet, and got them out of there, and they haven't been back since. So,
well, it's a credit to you.
Yeah, it's
Let's talk about your footy journey, because it's an amazing journey. You played, from memory, around 170 odd games.
176 at Richmond.
176 for the Tigers. You win 2 premierships.
Yeah. Most
of it's smooth sailing. Then you obviously go off to the Suns, and we'll talk about the transition from a lifestyle point of view, going up there with your wonderful wife, Sarah. But for me, like, you know, talk about 2016 being a defining year for the Tigers.
Yeah.
Could you see what happens after 2016 ever happening?
Oh, no. All you ever dream of as a kid is to win a premiership. Like, you win them as juniors and whatnot, it's the best feeling in the world. But to win an AFL one, it's just like, wow. Like, no, I couldn't, because we were so far in the dumps in 2016. I was just like, I don't know how the hell we're going to get out of here. I don't even know if Dimmer was still going to be there. I didn't even know if you were still going to be there. There was talks about you leaving, and you wanted to do the right thing. Maybe you weren't the right fit for this club. And I was just like, wow, there could be a lot of change. And I said, I don't know how we're going to get off the canvas here. But yeah, fast forward, you know, a couple of months, get into preseason, everything just felt different. You and Dimmer went away, did a lot of work together.
Needed to.
Yeah, did a lot of work individually. And then we came back, and the place just felt, I don't know, it just felt like brand new. It was a fresh start.
What was the biggest change from your perspective between 16 and 17, or maybe beyond that time?
We could just be ourselves. Like, I remember you getting up day one of preseason, and like, I could tell you were so uncomfortable. You stood up in the room, and you just spoke about like your journey and like your hardships and everything that you went through. And you started crying, and like, you broke yourself down, but you made us just feel like, oh my God, it's okay to like be vulnerable. It's okay to not have all the answers. It's okay to not be perfect. And then, I don't know, the place just felt like you could be yourself. And then I remember Dimmer getting up after you. He was in tears too. And he goes, boys, he goes, forget about everything that's happening. He goes, I just want this place to be fun. He goes, remember when you were a kid playing juniors, or like how fun it was? He goes, when it used to be raining, you guys used to slide around. Like, he goes, I want this place to be like that. And I was just like, from that day onwards, like, I'll never forget it. Like, you being vulnerable, opening yourself up, and then Dimmer saying, let's just go out and have fun. Don't worry about too much. I was just like, wow. And then look what happened. Yeah.
It wasn't all smooth sailing though for you, because we go on, we win our first premiership in 37 years, which is unbelievable. And then 2018 comes, and I think it was early on in the season. You were on the wing every week. You'd be one of the first pick, because you always played your role. You were an elite runner.
Yeah.
Didn't get a lot of hard footy, but
you did it for me. That's why your body's banged up.
You did a lot of good stuff on the outside. But it does get hard. You get dropped. What round was that?
I think after the Anzac Day round. Round 6 it might have been, after we played Melbourne,
Do you have any idea as to why it had got to that point for you? And what flows on from that? Yeah,
I've had to sort of dig deep and find out why I, did what I did. So we win the flag, on top of the world, life's complete. Like, how good's this? The party went on for months and months and months, and
as it did for many.
Yeah, and then I was just like, was in Moonee Ponds living at my house, and then I thought, why not move to the other side of the city? Let's move to South Yarra and be closer to the club, closer to my teammates, closer to better cafes, just closer to everything. I was just like winning a premiership wasn't enough. I was trying to find more, and then trying to find more, which I thought it was going to be the best thing ever, ended up being the worst thing ever. Like, I haven't really spoken about this to many people. Briefly touched on it with you because you helped me get out of the hole. But yeah, like moving there, I just went on like a bit of a downward spiral. I was away from my mates, away from my family. Like, I was lonely, probably going out a bit more than I should have been. I just hit this wall and I'm just like, this isn't working for me. I started getting dropped. My footy wasn't good. I was just like, what is going on? Like, I thought, I was on top of the world. I thought moving over here is going to be the best thing ever. But I realized it's probably the worst thing I've done. So I remember one morning, it was like 6:30 in the morning, and I messaged you. And I was like, Trent, like, I need some help. I need you to get me out of here. And then, you had to I didn't go to training that day. I was like, nah, I can't come to the club. I just need to chill. Like, I just need to relax. Like, I'm not good here. And then you came after training, got me, took me to your house, packed my bags, and then let me live with you and your beautiful family, and sort of help turn my career and life around from there. So going from the highest of highs to the lowest of lows, thinking you're doing the right thing, is just it was tough. But if that didn't happen, I don't think I'd be in the position that I'm in today. So I'm a big believer. Everything happens for a reason. Yeah, that sucked, and that time of my life was the best, but it was the worst.
You speak of isolation, loneliness.
Yep.
And then when we get to those places, we start to make decisions that maybe necessarily aren't good for our
I broke up with Sarah as well. So like everything that
was good
was helping me. I just was trying. I don't know why I was trying to find something better. I just was, and I've had to dig really deep into this. And Ben Crowe helped me out a lot with why I was doing what I was doing, which makes so much more sense now.
What were so I think the thing for me is in those moments, a lot of people have this shame attached with actually reaching out and asking for help. And I'm so grateful that we shared a relationship where you felt comfortable enough to go, hey, things aren't great.
Yeah.
I just need someone.
Yeah. Come get me.
What were the lessons through that time for you that now help you with knowing how to be at your best as often as you possibly can? Because life's not perfect. We know that. No. And we're challenged in many different ways, and we can talk about the transition from footy to the next phase of life as well. But what are some of the things in that moment? Because often from your darkest times comes your greatest growth and lessons. And I'm sure that was a period of challenge that's now given you that growth.
Yeah.
Was there a particular lesson or lessons that you learned?
That I am enough and I don't need to go and keep chasing the next best thing or whatnot. And I just think being around my best mates and being around my family, and I think that's what's, so important to me. And I think going away from all of that is why, I probably did downward spiral into that hole that I got into. So I think lessons learned is, just make sure that, if you can, like, try and be around your family as much as you can, try and be around your mates as much as you can, and just don't throw away the good things in your life because you're going to go try and find something better.
Yeah.
That was probably it. And it took some time, but I had to repair some relationships, and then I had to fight for my life to get Sarah back, who's my wife now. So bloody lucky. So, but if those times didn't happen, as you said, I probably wouldn't be where I am today. So they sucked, yes, but man, they taught me a lot.
I know that you became obsessed through probably your work with Ben Crowe. Then you start to read Brené Brown's books.
Yeah.
Did you have a favourite of her books?
Rising Strong. It was the first one that I think you got me to read when I was trying to get it. I was at your house when I moved in with you, and it was just...
You were stitched up because we had sold So you moved into
yeah,
our house,
I know.
then we had to move into the rental, and you had to help pack
into the
everything
palace, into the Dalai Lama, and then we went into
up. Shut up.
something little. No, it was still great.
It was a big adventure.
Yeah, I had my own ensuite.
So Rising Strong.
Yeah.
Was there a particular theme that came out of that book that has helped you to this day?
That you can pick yourself up off the canvas, like no matter how low you get and how dark times get and whatnot. Like you can always rise up. You can always rise strong. And yeah, you can, if you want to do the work, you can get yourself back into a better place. And that's probably the biggest lesson that I learned out of that book. And it's probably the book that I needed at the time. And yeah, ever since then, I read all her books. I try and read 1 to 2 books a month. I'm still doing that now. Sometimes can't be bothered, but
Play too much golf.
Yeah, too much golf, or just nap because I can now. But yeah, reading like it's helped me so much from that 2018 time to now. I just love it. Just so many like books just about self improvement, and you can learn so much from reading. Like I don't really like reading the audio books. I'd rather just have it in my hand, put the phone away, read, learn that way. So yeah, it's what a time that was.
Would you say that Brene Brown, and for those who don't know who Brene Brown is, she's a shame and vulnerability expert.
Yeah.
We were lucky enough for her to come and watch us play. I wasn't playing
you were
in the game, but you were.
Yeah.
What was it like meeting someone who had had such a profound impact that I assume you felt like you knew because you'd read all of her books, but probably never thought you would meet her?
Yeah, I know. It's pretty awesome. And then I remember I listened to a fair few of her podcasts as well. I think she might have been on a TED Talk. So, yeah, she was everything, I imagined and more. Just beautiful person, bubbly self, confident, just gave the time of day. Like, she probably didn't know who we were or didn't even give a stuff about the footy. But, she gave...
Because she ended up referencing you in one of her podcasts.
Yeah, I know. So, I remember just talking to her, and I think you might have mentioned to her, like, you would... sort of the catalyst for helping him get out of his dark time and change his life, and we spoke a little bit about that. And yeah, it was just like a whoa moment in my life. I was like, this is pretty cool. Like I met one of the most I think best authors ever.
Sliding doors moment.
Yeah,
you don't reach out.
Yeah,
what do you think life looks like right now? Like how bad a place do you think you were, and how bad could it have got?
I think I would have, if I didn't reach out to you, I would have reached out to someone else.
Yeah.
Like, I think I was at that time where, like, all right, enough's enough. Like, I need to help myself here. Like, I need to, get back on top and get back to just being me. So if I wasn't you, I definitely would have been someone else. But I think, I don't know if I really had that, father, like that other father figure in my life. I wasn't going to go and tell my parents, because the last thing you ever want to do is make your parents not proud or make your parents disappointed or worry them. Like, I knew I was going to be okay if I, reached out and got myself out of there. So, yeah, if it wasn't you, then it would have been someone else, but I didn't really have anyone else that sort of knew me like you did. So I was like, I think Trent's the perfect person, even though I was fucking shitting myself because I didn't know what you were going to say or what you're going to think or whatever, but you just literally put your arms around me, gave me like a big cuddle, and was just like exactly what I needed at the time. Was just like, I just felt like a huge weight off my shoulders, and then took me into the Dalai Lama and
shut up. It's actually an important fact because you've referenced me a lot, but clearly Brooke's been a huge part of
massive,
our lives.
Yeah.
She was the mother figure we both needed.
Yeah.
Put up with a lot of shit, I'm sure.
What a great cook she is. Better than you at tennis.
She's better at tennis. She's better at cooking. She's got me covered in a lot of areas. What was it? I don't know if I've ever actually asked you this. What was it like living with Brooke, myself? We had Harper and Ken's at the time.
Yeah.
You're a young 26-year-old man, child.
Yeah. Baby.
Combination.
I was the third child in your house.
What was it like though? Like, we obviously lived such a different life to what you had been living and did live. Did you enjoy it? Did you find it challenging in any way? What was the best part? What was the worst part?
I just needed that circuit breaker. I just needed to, because Yeah, I just needed that circuit break. I just
You
needed
can say
to.
I'm a boring fuck.
Yeah, it's fucking boring. Doesn't do anything. No, but I just needed that that home where it was just very warm, like very comforting. Harper and Ken loved me. Like I'd get home from training and they'd just want to play, and whether you had a bad day or not, they didn't know, but they'd always just be happy and like they'd just cheer you up. And I know I just needed like that. I don't know. I've always looked up to you and Brooke as being like, my not mum and dad, but just like older brother, older sister that I could always count on, and I've always had my back. So it was cool that I got to move in there, and you guys got to help me out, and just show me like a family side of things sort of as well, which I think I was really missing because I'd isolated myself so much being over the other side of town. Even though I'd go back and drive an hour to see everyone, it just wasn't the same. It was, I don't know. It just, everything just was wrong.
Gillette is proud to support Gotcha for Life. Gotcha for Life is a charity dedicated to building mental fitness, emotional resilience, and meaningful mateship to help prevent suicide. A percentage of sales from every Gillette product sold at Chemist Warehouse before June 25th, 2025 will be donated to Gotcha for Life. So when you're choosing Gillette, you're not just looking after yourself, you're helping to support others too. I remember you saying to me early on, and I reckon we might have been with someone who'd done pretty well, a bit older, and you just said something as blunt as like, how much money do you earn, or what are you worth, or something like that. And after the fact, I was just like, like one thing I was taught growing up, you never ask someone either how much they have, what they earn, how much something's worth, whatever. And I remember having this conversation with you after it, and you said, if you don't ask, you don't know. And without a word of a lie, because, people will sit here and watch this and go, their relationship's beautiful and Trent's been so important in Brandon's life. But the reality is that the thing that's so beautiful about our friendship is that I've learnt just as much from your journey as you've learnt from mine. And I'll never forget that quote, because there's been so many times where I'm like, if you don't put yourself out there, maybe not ask as blunt as what you did, but if you don't put yourself out there, you actually genuinely will never know. Like, has that been something that was always ingrained in you? And has it helped you in any other aspects of your life?
Yeah, well, it's just like if you don't know, if you don't ask, you don't know. What's the worst someone's going to tell you? No, they don't want to tell you what you want to know. Okay, whatever. It's like where I've come from, like getting told no, or someone not telling you what you want to hear. It's just like, oh, whatever. Like I don't take that to heart or whatnot. So like I don't really know any different. It's just like, all right, well,
on to the next thing.
Yeah, on to the next thing. It's like whatever, in one ear, out the other, whatever. So I guess growing up where I did, like, some people might find that, be confronting, what I asked, or I might ask personal questions and whatnot, but like I don't really know any different. And to be honest, I don't care if you don't want to tell me or not.
But that is a form of curiosity, and that's been a big part of your life, particularly since, it's always been part of your life, but even more so since probably that most challenging time in 2018.
Yeah.
And I know that from where you've come from to where you are now, by not having that curiosity, you wouldn't be in the position that you are to date, right?
No, definitely not.
And you wouldn't learn as much as you've learned, whether it's about business, your own body. You've just done a Pilates course as well, so you're now a qualified instructor. So
I know.
Can't wait for you to take me for a session. You
won't be able to walk.
That curiosity, did that lead you to the move from Richmond to the Gold Coast? Now, there's obviously lots of parts, right?
Yeah, lots of moving parts.
There's a financial decision, because commercially it's a way better option than staying at the Tigers.
Yeah.
There was some challenge points where you felt like you'd been capped in your role.
Yeah.
And maybe that was a conversation that had happened with coaches and Dimmer even.
Yeah.
Is that fair? Am I speaking out of school?
Yes, and they just said that if I stay, I've got to take basically half a pay cut on what I'm on now, but the club's like, we're not going to ask you to do that. Like, we need you to go and look after yourself. Like, you've done what you've needed to do. But hardest thing for me was like, I never thought I'd ever leave. Like, I'd love to be a one club player. To have to leave you and Dars and Cads and Brody, like, more very close mates. It's just like, I don't want to do this. Like, as Blair Hartley at the time, I think he's still there now. She's like, come on, Blair, is there anything we can do? Like, just give me a bit more and I'll stay. And he goes, mate, we can't. So yeah, I had a big decision to make. And plus the hardest thing was like me and Sarah were so good. Like we'd finally like mend everything. Like we were awesome, like best we've ever been. And asking her like,
do you think you would have gone if?
I didn't have a choice.
Yeah.
Honestly, I did not have a choice. So the hardest thing was like trying to convince her. But I remember we were playing Brisbane in the qualifying final 2019, and we're on the plane there the day before, and I was sitting next to Lynchy, and we're flying in. It was like start of September. It was beautiful. It was sunny. Get off the plane. It's warm. And I said to Lynchy, I said, "Is this what it's like all the time?" And he goes, "Yep." I said, then I messaged Sarah and I said, "We're doing it." And then she goes, "All right, let's do it." So yeah, I remember that so vividly on the plane, sitting next to him. And talking to him about it. So, but yeah, the hardest part was trying to convince her, but I said, look, let's give it 5 years. After 5 years, I'll do whatever you want. We'll go home.
Yeah.
5 years later, we're just like, mate, we don't want to come home. Like, we love the Gold Coast. She's got a great job. But yeah, it was so scary at the time because for me, it was probably a bit easy because I was going into a club. I was going to see 44 people every single day. But for her, she knew no one up there.
Yeah.
She didn't have a job, leaving her family, leaving her friends. We'd never lived together either. So it was either going to make or break us.
And it made you?
Yeah. So a year later, I got down on one knee and I mumbled and she said yes.
You can mumble.
But yeah, that was, at the time I didn't want to leave, but it's probably been one of the best things I've ever done as well, is like set myself up. When we have a family one day, hopefully, I can provide them and help set them up. And yeah, life's good. Life's good at the moment.
I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah.
So you move up there, you play a few years, you reach 250 games.
Yeah.
But in
I didn't think I was going to get there. But
in 2023,
you
had a few injuries.
Oh, yeah. Don't talk about them.
Again, you called me up and you said, I think I'm done.
I'm done, yeah. So the start of 2023, I had the best preseason ever. Had a 4-day break.
Fit, healthy.
Living
a good life.
Yeah. Did my calf. Did it again. So I did it 4 times. And I was just like far out. And then came back in the 2s. Didn't find my best form. And I was just like, had like probably 18 months ago, and I was just like, I can't be bothered anymore. Like, once you start thinking about retirement, you can never ever get out of your head. It just starts growing and growing and growing. And I remember texting you. I was doing a heat session on the bike in the Gold Coast. I was like, Trent, I think I'm done. And then you're like, hold on, I'll call you. Anyway, helped me get through that year. A lot of change happened. Obviously, Dimmer come in. Fresh start, fresh face. Like, this is awesome. Then I got a bit injured in the preseason again. Stumbled my way to 250. Had probably the worst game I've ever had on my 250th. Made everyone drive up to Ballarat. I was like, no. I was like at halftime, like, Dimmer, just like sub me. Like, I feel embarrassed. But it was my 250th. He wasn't going to sub me. Played out the game. We got done by 8 to 10 goals. And then after that, I was just like, I know this is my last year. Like, I'm done. Like, I was just mentally, physically, our body was okay. I was just mentally exhausted. I was just tired, and I just couldn't be bothered anymore. And I'd probably, I'm not trying to sound cocky or anything here, but I'd sort of set myself up that if I did retire, just say after my 250th, I was going to be okay. Anyway, after that game, I messaged him, because we had the bye the next week. I went over, I said, I need to have a chat with you. And he's like, all right, come over. And I sat down on his balcony. He was renting this mad apartment over the Gold Coast in Burleigh. I was like, I think I'm done, mate. He goes, no, you're not. I was like, Dimmer, I'm done. He goes, no, you're not. He goes, I'm not letting you retire. Just said, he goes, I need you. He goes, please, I need you. I was like, Dimmer, I've checked out already. I said, I'm done. He goes, nah. He goes, how can we make this place, fun for you again and whatnot? He goes, look, to be honest with you, you're probably not going to play AFL again. He goes, just go have fun in the VFL, just try and find the love for it again. And then he goes, we can chat after the bye. After the bye, I get back in the team. Beautiful. Going off, try and resurrect my career here. And like I had more hope. I was like, oh, maybe I can play this again. Maybe I might get one more year. Like my mindset started shifting.
Yeah.
Get to Perth and then he goes, oh, you're sub. I'm like, oh, so you're taking me all this way to play me as sub. I said, oh, whatever. No, I get on halfway through. No, started last quarter, do my calf. 5 minutes in and I said, like, in the back of my mind, I knew that was my last game I was ever going to play. I was like, I'm not going off. So I just played the whole last quarter with my calf. Made it probably 10 times worse than what it would have been, but I didn't care because like I knew I was going to rehab it. Took 6 to 8 weeks and then I was going to pull the pin. So yeah, bittersweet, but...
What have you learned about motivation across your career? Because as a kid, you come in, you've got, wanting to make your parents proud and that you want to go down the right path as per that conversation you had with Richard back in the day. Obviously, the carrot of a premiership, which didn't look likely sort of halfway through your career.
Nah, not at all.
Then you have success and then you go through a really challenging year. Then you manage to win a premiership, then go to a new club.
Yeah.
What have you learned about motivation or the key to motivation for you personally? Because everyone's different. Like I look at the Scott Pendleburys and the Dangerfields. I look at Dangerfield do an explosive move and I'm like, my hamstring would end up around my neck if I tried to do that.
My calf would be up into my stomach if I did that.
And it amazes me. And I know that that's probably what makes them great.
Yeah.
And I was probably a little bit like you. It's like, I know that I can't give what I need to give for this team, for this club. And that's why you end up coming to that decision. Yeah. What did you learn about motivation?
To be honest, I've never really had to worry about motivation. I've always been a motivated kid, always been motivated to make AFL, to get my parents out of the flats. Like, I've never had to worry about it. But, man, towards the end, everything felt hard. Trying to go get a massage on your day off, trying to get osteo on your day off, like just trying to lift heavy in the gym. Everything was just hard. And I don't know, I just felt like I just couldn't give my best anymore. And I felt like once I got to that stage, I was like, I'm just hurting the club and I'm hurting myself. Yeah. So I was just like, you try to remotivate yourself by looking at other things and whatnot, but it was shot. So
now that you've been retired for a period of time, and I had the same realization, like, do you think people out there don't have and I think even the players wouldn't even be aware of this until you actually do retire, the mental load that goes into being a professional athlete, whether it's AFL or something else? Do you sleep better?
Oh, mate, I don't have no more anxiety.
Wake up stressing about, that's a little niggle.
No.
Hopefully I'll get through training.
No.
How much weight do you carry now on reflection? Because I know it was a huge amount.
Mate, you can't even explain it.
And is that the exhaustion though?
100% it is. Yeah. Like just the pressure.
Because playing games is awesome.
Yeah, game day's the best. It's the stuff during the week that is so exhausting. Yeah. It's the greatest job in the world and you get paid such good money, but it comes at a mental toll, which not many people understand. And it's just, when I retired, I just felt like, I've never felt this like pressure and this weight off my shoulders. It's just like, oh my God, I was carrying so much baggage, so much extra stuff that I didn't think I was. But as you said, you sleep better. You don't have to worry about your diet. Like I still eat well. You don't have to worry about if you're going to go lift an extra couple of times in the gym, put on a bit of weight. Like you can have midweek wines. You can go on mid-year holidays. Like everything that you can't do, you can sort of suddenly do. And you're just like, oh my God, like I don't have a million people judging me every single day now or on the weekends about my performance or what I'm doing and what not doing. But now it's just like, oh my God, like I feel free. Like that's probably the best word, like freedom.
It's a nice feeling.
Yeah, but I obviously miss the monthly paycheck.
No, absolutely. But speaking of the freedom, like I think about society today.
Yeah.
Kids growing up, obviously my own, they're a bit younger than that, but there's such an expectation on what people should or shouldn't be doing.
Yeah.
And do you think part of that mental load for athletes in particular, but also just society, is why people do dabble in things that are effectively numbing behaviours, whether that's gambling,
alcohol,
drugs, alcohol? Is that particularly for athletes.
Yeah.
You know, you play your game, that's the highest of the week. Then you need to have a release so you don't have to think about those things for a period of time. Do you think that's the vicious behaviour or
100%
that comes as part of it?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, because mate, life's tough, and then playing a professional sport, it's even harder as long as like with everything else that's going on in your life. So yeah, people, they do go to find things that do numb themselves, and like every individual is different. But yeah, it's definitely huge in society these days, and it is probably a little bit of a worry as well. Just like the expectations, from everyone else externally.
You touched on 3 words that I think are just incredibly powerful. And for any kids or young teenagers that are listening to this, you said the words, I am enough.
Yeah.
That was one of your biggest defining moments or lessons across your journey.
Yeah.
Do you think that statement helps with the behaviours we were just talking about?
Oh, definitely.
Having that understanding that
you are
doesn't
enough.
matter what you do, who you are, how you show up in the world. There's only one of you.
Yeah.
And you are enough as you are.
100%. And I think people go down and do those things because they're just trying to find validation, and they're just trying to please everyone else, and they're probably just trying to be liked by everyone else as well. But when you start, doing a lot of work on yourself and like self-development and realize that you are enough, and it doesn't matter if this person over there doesn't like you or that person doesn't, like as long as you love yourself, and, it means you can love everyone else. And yeah, as I said before, like once I realized that I was enough, I was just like, oh my God, like, wow.
Have you always loved yourself?
I've felt a lot of shame and guilt in my life, probably from like where I was living, but
was that because of FOPO, fear of other people's opinion?
100%, and wanting to be liked. Yeah, like as a kid.
And now knowing that that's effectively bullshit.
Yeah.
And you can't control that.
I know. I just wish we could learn that at a younger age. But then again, it's just like, do we have the mental capacity to realize and understand that being enough is enough? Like, I don't know. Like, do you have to wait to a certain stage in your life to learn all of that, or until you start believing it? Or do you have to go through certain things and certain experiences to realize, like, I don't need to be doing that. Like, this is enough. Like, I don't know. Like, where's the sweet spot? Like, does anyone know? I don't know. Yeah. I don't know. I think maybe when you do, go through some dark times or whatnot, maybe that's when you start to realize, like, I don't know. But yeah, I remember that time in 2018 was probably like my time when, like, all right, I am enough.
Yeah. You've spoken a lot about friends, family, relationships, and that is literally the core of your being now. And I take my hat off to you. I think you're one of the greatest in maintaining relationships. I think some people are exceptional at it. Some are normally the people that kind of sit back and hope that someone connects with them. Yeah. Do you have anything, do you set up calendar entries in your phone to reach out to people? Like, because you are genuinely one of the best that I've ever come across with regards to maintaining relationships. And I think that's just genuinely because you care.
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
Well, given you are elite at it, what do you think are the keys to a healthy or great friendship or relationship?
It works both ways. Like, you got to both have to put in the effort. I know. I just find that I just want everyone to be happy, and like I'm a very happy person. So I love myself so much now. So I can go out there and I can give that love to people that I might think are struggling, or if I haven't reached out to someone, I'm just like, I just wonder how they're doing. Like, I genuinely care, and I just want to make sure that everyone's happy, because I know what it's like to not be happy. I know what it's like to not, feel loved, or to feel like you're not enough. So I don't know, and I think it's just part of like who I am, and and I just love my friends. Like, I love checking in. Like, I might, send you a message once a month. What's going on, Skip? Like, still call you Skip. Like, I don't know, just like a bit of a running joke. But I don't know, I just feel like I'd be lost without that. Like, it's just part of my identity and like who I am, just being this caring, loving person. And and like probably, obviously, like I'll never forget where I've come from, and I'll never forget the people that I went through the hard times with. So I always check on them, and like they're still some of my best mates now. So if I can do that, with the, guys that I've grown up since being kids. Like, it's no reason why I can't do it with, people that I've played footy with or guys that I've made friends with in the last 5 years. It's, I don't know. Yeah.
Do all of your friends need to be of a similar personality?
No, you're a spitting image and example of it. Yeah, I've got some rough friends, I've got some beautiful friends, and then I've got you. I'm like, actually, I want to ask you a question.
Okay.
I want to take over now. We are so opposite. Why did you take me under your wing when I first got to the club? And, why do we connect so much? You were married at 21, started having kids, had your life sorted, captain of the biggest club in the bloody world, in Australia. I was the opposite. I was going out, no kids, no, signed a marriage, no nothing. Why do we get along so well?
It's a good question. I think jokingly I would say I've lived my life vicariously through you.
Without the hangovers.
Is great. I've got no hangovers. Not a lot of shame attached to the behaviours on a Saturday night. But I think a lot of what you just spoke about with regards to relationships, you are someone who I don't think's ever worn a mask. What you see is what you get. You genuinely want to improve. You're interested rather than trying to be interesting all the time.
Yeah.
You ask lots of questions. Doesn't matter how blunt or
nice
open they are. And you've put time, care, and energy into me and my family. And I think the other part is that because there's two forms of judgment, right? It's like you've never judged the way I've lived my life.
No.
And I think there's just been an acceptance that we're all different, and that's the same. And I think that's why we do connect.
Yeah.
Yes, I had a role as captain to look after you from a club point of view, but ultimately, any time we have had deep and meaningful conversations is because I care about you as a person, not an athlete.
Yeah.
And I think that's shown through in the way that you've treated me and my family as well. So I think whilst we have lived different lives, our values are still aligned in many ways. And I think that's the lesson for people out there. You don't have to come from the same upbringing. You don't have to have the same kind of lifestyle.
Yeah.
But if you value the same things, then you can connect on a different level. And it only has to be one thing.
Yeah. And we, as you said, we can learn so much off each other. I thought I've learned so much off you, but then hearing you say you've learned stuff off me, it's it's pretty cool. Who would have thought you learn off a kid from the Commission Flats?
Yeah. And I think deep down there's just a genuine unconditional love.
Yeah, 100%.
There's been no conditions attached to it.
Yeah. I owe you a few coffees though. I remember you shouted me so much. You and Bashahuli actually. I remember the amount of times we'd go down to the beach, Sunday recovery, you'd maybe jump in the bay. I'm like, oh, what are you doing? And I'm like, go get a coffee afterwards. I remember those times in my first year, and it's just man, this is so cool. You weren't captain then, but I was I'm hanging out with the best player of the club. Oh my God. So I remember everything you did for me. So thanks for looking after me when I was a young pup, and you can let me go a little bit now. You can let me go.
Mutual. We'll always be there for each other.
Cheers, mate.
Okay.
Yeah.
A couple to finish off. Actually, I want to touch on Sezzy because she has been a huge part of your life. When you first got together, how old were you?
She added me on Facebook when just before I got drafted. So we were a Facebook couple.
Facebook couple?
She added me on Facebook, and I
cute.
accepted, and that's how we met. Yeah.
Nice. And so that would be, 14 years now?
Yeah, 14 years. Yeah, wow.
Married a year?
No, 22nd of the 12th, 22. So going into 3 years this year. I know.
3 years. Geez, that's gone quick.
Yeah.
Since being married, has the relationship changed at all?
No. We just, I don't know, probably just love each other even more. I don't know. I just feel like we're just getting better and better the older we get.
Yeah. Is there any reason for that? Is there an awareness as to why that is? I know we've had conversations previously about, always making time for yourself, and you're obviously pre-kids.
Yeah. I guess we just,
for each other,
we understand each other's boundaries. I know when she needs space. She knows when I need space. But I just never forget the sacrifice that she made to move her whole life up to Gold Coast to make me chase my dreams and help us, set ourselves up. So now it's I even said in my retirement speech, now it's time for me to give back and help her chase her dreams, which is killing at the moment. So yeah, I'm just chilling at home at the moment while she's doing her thing. Heaps of golf.
Good.
Yeah.
What does life look like from a transition point of view since playing to now? I know you got your finger in a fair few pies.
Yeah, I do. At the moment, just have a year off, just decompress, enjoy life, and just take a breath, because you know what it's like. It's so intense, the AFL environment, so much pressure. Like, you're so selfish. So now it's just about, giving back a little bit, and then just taking a bit of time to myself. But did my Pilates course, couldn't help myself because I was bored after a few months. So I signed up, did that. So yeah, I'm not a qualified teacher just yet. Got to do some observation and practice hours. But go to Europe for a few months in July. So yeah, just do all of that, and then when I get back, I'll work out what I want to do. But
you think it'll be in health and fitness space?
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, heaps.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it's funny. As soon as I retired, I literally left the club, went to World Gym, got a membership, did a workout. Usually everyone would go to the pub, do whatever, but I was like, nah, like I have to go do a workout. Like, I just need to start like my life now. Like, I don't want to go down the rabbit hole before I need to, pick myself up. It's like, nah, gonna go straight there and just start my new life right now. So I can't sit still, as you can probably tell.
What's the best piece of advice you received during your life? Doesn't have to just be your career. And who was it that gave it to you?
Oh, the harder you work, the luckier you get. I remember Dad telling me that. And I've actually got a painting at home where I live now. Like, it's on my wall. So every time I walk out of my room, like, I read every single day. So yeah,
very true, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. I get it's so true. There, the harder you work, the luckier you get.
You've won the ultimate in the game that you grew up loving and playing.
Yep.
Twice.
Yep.
What is success to you now, or how do you define success?
I just internally just being happy.
How can you be like? What does happiness mean to you? What does it look like?
Making sure wife's set, making sure she's happy, making sure I've got a good routine, making sure my family's like all good. I don't know, and just being like happy inside, like with everything that I'm doing. Like, I meditate most mornings now. Try to just calm the brain down before I start my hectic day, which involves gym and golf. So yeah, I think just being able to wake up and I don't know, just be like life's good. Like,
smell the roses.
Yeah, like, I don't have everything, and like, I'm not perfect, but what I've got is more than probably I would have ever dreamed of as a kid. So just be content with that.
You went through a phase where you wrote down the things you're grateful for every single day. Do you still do that?
No, I don't.
But is that where, say, meditation comes in and replaces?
I think so, yeah.
It's effectively part of your routine that allows you to set up your day, right?
100%. I was doing that for a while. I was journaling, but I don't know, just I'm bored of it.
Yeah.
I just got sick of it. I couldn't be bothered. But now meditating, I bloody love it. As soon as I wake up, AirPods in, put on this meditation music, and it goes for like 25, 30 minutes. And I don't know, I just feel like, what better way to start your day? Like, don't check your phone and just like breathe and just, yeah. I find it really just helps calm my mind, because you know what I'm like. I'm a bit of a turbo and energizer bunny. As soon as I get up, got to do this, do that, blah, 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 blah. But now it's just like, I have the time now to be able to meditate and to chill and not be in such a rush. Like, go downstairs and make me and Sarah coffee, bring it up, have it in bed. Like, just these beautiful things that I never really did, because I was always in a rush to go to training, or had to go do an ice bath before I went to training, or I had to eat this before I went to training. And now it's like, I can breathe. Yeah.
Freedom.
Oh, it's so good.
Last question we love to finish on.
Oh, what is it?
If you could go back to your 16-year-old self and give you one piece of advice that would help you with what's ahead, what would it be?
I've always stuck by this. Just never forget where you come from, and just be loyal to the ones that have helped you get to where you've got to today. Like, never put them on the back burner.
Has there been a time in your life where you felt like that you went away from that for, a period of time that allowed you to learn that lesson, or you think you've done that very well?
Yeah, probably when I decided to break up with Sarah.
Yep.
It's probably the only time when I really went against everything that I'd preached and what I preach now, about loyalty and never forgetting where you come from, and doing whatever you can for the the ones that have loved you and helped you get to where you are. So it's probably one of the biggest regrets ever. But so happy.
As you said.
So happy she took me back, but man, I had to work.
We would have taught you a lot of lessons.
I
remember lots of conversations, which we won't digress in here.
But no, we're good. She's the best.
Brando, I always love spending time with you. You make me smile. You have an infectious smile yourself that brings the best out in people. I think the things I've taken away from the chat, even though I feel like I've been pretty close to your journey, is having perspective and knowing that what's done to you or given to you isn't always the end result. You can actually work for something else, and then that probably stems into the harder you work, the luckier you get.
Yeah.
It is a fantastic quote, and I think today there's a lot of people that don't necessarily want to put the work in but still expect the results.
100%.
And that the vulnerability to actually put yourself out there and make sure that you continue to connect with that network around you, whether that's friends, family, partner, is the cornerstone to you living your healthiest and happiest life. So I appreciate you sharing. I appreciate you coming along. I appreciate you probably more than you even realise. But thanks for joining us on Shaped.
No, thank you. And I know you appreciate me, because every time we get off the phone, at the end you always say, I love you. And I have to say back, I love you too bad. So, love you too, mate.
I love you.